Good afternoon. Welcome to our March 20th, 2024 meeting. Before the formal meeting of the Phoenix City Council, we'll convene the Assisted Housing Governing Board. I'll call that board to order. Will the clerk call the roll?
Board Member Ansari.
Here.
Board Member Guardado.
Here.
Board Member Hodge-Washington.
Here.
Board Member Maggard. Board Member O'Brien.
Here.
Board Member Pastor.
Here.
Board Member Robinson.
Here.
Board Member Waring. Board Member Vice Chair Stark.
Here.
Chairwoman Gallego.
Here. Board Member Maggard, do you have a motion to approve Resolution 219?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments? Roll call.
Ansari.
Yes.
Guardado.
Yes.
Hodge-Washington.
Yes.
Maggard. O'Brien.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Waring. Stark.
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 8-0. Sorry,
Board-
9-0. Apologize.
Board Member Maggard, do you have a motion on resolution number 220?
I motion to approve Resolution 220. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments? Roll call.
Ansari.
Yes.
Guardado.
Yes.
Hodge-Washington.
Yes.
Maggard.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Waring. Stark.
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 9-0.
Board Member Maggard, do you have a motion on resolution 221?
I motion to approve Resolution 221. Second.
Roll call.
Ansari.
Yes.
Guardado.
Yes.
Hodge-Washington.
Yes.
Maggard.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Stark.
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 9-0.
That concludes the agenda of the Assisted Housing Governing Board. We've done a variety of different important investments, from helping with Section 8 vouchers to applying for additional funding under Choice Neighborhoods. So thank you, Donna, for your service on this board and your help today. The Assisted Housing Governing Board meeting is adjourned. We will now invite up a longtime friend of the city, Chaplain Fesmeyer, to deliver an invocation.
Would you please stand? You are welcomed and invited to join me in prayer. Almighty God, gracious Heavenly Father, I thank you for another day of the precious gift of life. Help each of us determined to live, to act, serve, and lead with integrity, courage, compassion, and intentionality, to do good and to do right. Grant this body of elected representatives your protection, wisdom, and discernment. Protect their families. May we seek the best for agreement and respect in disagreement. Protect this city and all who live and work within it. Protect our protectors and our rescuers. Bless those whose selfless service is the lifeblood of all that glorifies you. We pray this in your holy name. Amen.
And sorry, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you, Chaplain, and thank you, Councilwoman Ansari. I will now call to order the formal meeting of the Phoenix City Council.
Councilwoman Ansari.
Here.
Councilwoman Guardado.
Here.
Councilwoman Hodge-Washington.
Here.
Councilwoman O'Brien.
Here.
Councilwoman Pastor.
Here.
Councilman Robinson.
Here.
Councilman Waring. Vice Mayor Stark.
Here.
Mayor Gallego.
Here. Mario Barajas and Elsie Duarte are with us to provide Spanish interpretation. Would you please introduce yourselves?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. Hello, my name is Mario Barajas. I'm going to be one of the two interpreters that's going to be interpreting for our Spanish speakers, together with Elsie Duarte. Now, I'll introduce myself to our Spanish-speaking audience. Hola, buenas tardes. Yo soy Mario Barajas y junto con mi colega Elsie Duarte estaremos sirviéndoles como intérpretes a los de habla hispana el día de hoy. Deseamos pedirles de antemano, si es que van a dar un comentario público, por favor, hable despacio, con claridad y evite tener distracciones de fondo. Finalmente, pause después de cada una o dos oraciones para que le podamos interpretar de la mejor manera posible. Gracias. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mario. Will the city clerk please read the 24-hour paragraph?
The titles of the following ordinance and resolution numbers on the agenda were available to the public at least 24 hours prior to this council meeting and therefore may be read by title or agenda item only. Ordinances number G7239 through 7240, S50662 through 50706, and Resolution 22187.
Thank you. Would the city attorney please explain the role of public comment?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Members of the public may speak for up to 2 minutes to comment on agenda items. Comments must be related to the agenda item and the action being considered by the council. General comments that go beyond the scope of the agenda item must be made in the citizen comment session at the end of the agenda. The City Council and staff cannot discuss or comment on matters related to pending investigations, claims, or litigation. Additionally, any member of the public who appears before council in their capacity as a lobbyist must, as required by Phoenix City Code, disclose this fact before addressing council. The City Code requires speakers to present their comments in a respectful and courteous manner. Profane language, threats, or personal attacks on members of the public, council members, or staff are not allowed. A person who violates these rules will lose the opportunity to continue to speak.
Thank you so much. We begin with the meeting minutes. Councilman Waring, do you have a motion on item 1?
Yes, I move approval of the meeting minutes for June 2nd, 2021.
Second.
Comments? All those in favor say aye.
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 Passes unanimously.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Stark, do you have a motion on item 2?
Yes, I do. I move to approve the minutes.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
Aye.
Councilwoman Pastor, do you have a motion on item 3?
So move item 3. Second.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hodge Washington, do you have a motion on item 4?
Yes, I so move for the minutes of January 3rd, 2024. Approval.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Passes unanimously.
Aye.
At today's council meeting, Councilwoman Ansari will be assisting me with motions. Councilwoman, do you have a motion on item 5, boards and commissions?
Motion to approve mayor and city council boards and commissions nominations.
Second.
All those in favor,
Second.
please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. We have a really distinguished group of individuals to be sworn in today, so we will ask them to come up. And for your name, you can all speak at the same time. Please raise your right hand. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of the office of. State your office. According to the best of my ability. So help me God. Thank you for serving our city. We welcome a great group of commissioners from a variety of positions, Tourism and Hospitality Boards, sister cities, village planning commissions. Thank you all for being willing to serve the city of Phoenix. Next, we go to the liquor license portion of the Phoenix City Council meeting. We serve in an advisory role to the state of Arizona on liquor licenses. Councilwoman Ansari, do you have a motion on liquor licenses?
Motion to approve items 6 through 24, noting that item 12 is as revised and located in District 1, except item 23.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay?
Aye.
We next go to item 23, which is in Councilwoman Hodge Washington's district. Councilwoman, would you like to make a motion, or would we like to hear from the speaker first? All right. We have testimony from Raleigh. This is the venue on 7th. Raleigh.
Yes, thank you. And good afternoon, Mayor Gallegos and council members. This is Raleigh Dombeck on behalf of Garfield Organization, 1204 East Roosevelt Street, Phoenix 85006. And we just wanted to go on record that we are opposing this particular liquor license due to the uniqueness of the property itself, because it is bounded by ADOT property with a freeway entrance ramp on the west and ADOT Interstate 10 to the north and a private business to the south. And then on the east side, it opens up to the residential area. It has other complexities that are a little bit different for its normal commercial zoning. So we just feel it would be prudent for the residents to have more information than just passing the liquor license without an actual plan. The application that we reviewed, unfortunately, we missed the 22nd for the opposition comment, and the application seems to have recycled plans from Prescott Valley, and we're unsure of what that is. And just due to the uniqueness of the parcel itself, we feel that it would be more prudent to have more information before supporting this. Thank you.
Thank you for that testimony. Councilwoman.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a few questions you can clarify based on the comments that were made by the speaker. Can you address some of their concerns about the location? Is it unorthodox? Sorry, go ahead.
That's okay, thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor and members of the council. I'm Kristen Benavides, representing the city clerk. This particular liquor license is for a new Series 6 license, which is for a bar, and it's within a hotel. This liquor license would allow the consumers to purchase the liquor within the bar, but consume throughout the hotel. The location itself is currently vacant land, and it's not uncommon for this type of license to be associated with a property similar to this. The location obviously has not been previously licensed for liquor sales, so there's no interim permit in place, and it would require a use permit to allow a bar, outdoor dining, and outdoor alcohol consumption as well.
Thank you for that clarification. And with respect to without an actual plan, I presume that when the time is right, the plan and development will receive some information, and that information will then be relayed to the community for input. Can you chime in on that?
That is correct. Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. Requirements for the application that are outlined within the statutes have been met by the applicant, which included a drawing based on what they're proposing for this property. The public will have other opportunities related to the proposed building and project through the use permit hearings with the Planning and Development Department.
Thank you for that clarification. With that, I think that addresses the concerns that were raised by the Garfield neighborhood. And at this time, I would move to approve item number 23.
Second.
Thank you. Thanks for making sure we stay on top of that, Councilwoman Hodge Washington, and thank you to the Garfield neighborhood. Roll call.
Ansari,
Yes.
Guardado,
Yes.
Hodge Washington,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Pastor,
Yes.
Robinson, Waring, Stark,
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 9-0.
City Clerk, are we ready for ordinances, resolutions, new business, planning, and zoning?
Yes, Mayor.
Vice Mayor, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve items 25 through 93, except the following: items 25, 33, 34, 48, 61, 65, and 93. And can the clerk confirm if there are any other items that should be excluded for in-person public comment?
Yes, Mayor, members of the council, also excluding items 60, 61, 62, and 80. That would be items 60, 61, 62, and 80.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Ansari,
Yes.
Guardado,
Yes.
Hodge Washington,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Pastor,
Yes.
Robinson, Waring, Stark,
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 9-0.
First, we go to the payment ordinance. Items 25, 33, and 34 are all related to the payment ordinance, different payment items. Councilwoman Ansari, do you have a motion on 25, 33, and 34?
Move to approve?
Second.
Comments? Roll call.
Ansari,
Yes.
Guardado,
Yes.
Hodge Washington,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Pastor,
Yes.
Robinson, Waring, Stark,
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 8-1.
We next go to item 48, the Foreign Language Interpretation and Translation Services. Vice Mayor.
Move to approve item 48.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Councilwoman Guardado has a comment.
So Mayor, I just had a couple of questions, not exactly sure if it's Dan or who it would be.
We will ask our City Communications Director, Dan Wilson, to come forward.
Dan, can you just clarify for us what is it that we're doing today?
This would extend, Mayor, members of council, Councilman or Councilwoman Guardado, this would extend an already in place contract for an additional 6 months, getting us through October. We are currently in a procurement process to develop a qualified vendor list, and this would get us that contract through while we develop that list.
So I guess for me, just given what happened yesterday at the meeting, I know that, Lori, I've voiced concerns to you. I think I've talked to Jeff about it as well. You know, when people take time off work to come to the city, it's not easy for people to come out here, and sometimes it's not even easy to speak in public about different things that they are going through, and they come here, they lose money because they have to lose money from working that day because the meeting is a little bit too early sometimes for them, and then they have to pay parking. And then to come here and feel that they're not being heard because the translation is not being done correctly, I think that is profoundly disrespectful. I found it very easy to work with Mario Barajas and with Elisa Duarte. I think they've been great to work with. But I mean, it was a little bit embarrassing to see what happened yesterday here on the dais and what's happened in the past. So for me, in order to be able to support, the reason I did the second is for me to be able to support this item today. I just want to make sure that we're able to stipulate in the contract that for the extension, that nor Gloria San Miguel or Carmen Cota will come in and translate again. Is that something that we're able to do?
That's something that we could look into, certainly. But the extension of the contract allows us to continue with Mario and Elsie. But we'll look into whether we can, whether we can put restrictions on that. I don't know the answer to that.
Mayor, members of the council, I think some of it will depend on availability as well. So again, we can talk to the vendor and talk to the contractor to see what we can do to make that request palatable. But I think the one thing we also just have to remember is I don't know how many folks are under her in that contract, because it is Gloria's company. So I think one thing that we just have to be mindful of is whether or not they have someone that can actually step in and fulfill that role while we're still under contract with them, trying to support your request.
And Mayor, Councilwoman, members of the council, what I do think that we can do is stipulate that we will prioritize the interpreters of our preference, or ask them to prioritize the interpreters of our preference, and I think that should be something that we can do.
So if that's the position that we're taking, then I think we should add into the contract that if folks that are coming in that are being translated for don't feel comfortable with the person that's translating for them, they should be able to bring in their own person, their own translator.
Yes, and Mayor, members of the council, that is something that we do by practice on occasion anyway, and so we could do that if that's necessary.
So if we can do that, if we can stipulate those things, try to prioritize Mario and Ms. Duarte to be the people that come in and translate, and if for some reason they're not, look, I get it that it's not easy to translate. I'm not one that volunteers to do it because I know that it's a hard job to do. But at the same time, when people are up here and they're telling us their stories and they're telling us their challenges and their issues, we should be mindful that we need to have someone that can relate the message that the way they want it to be related. So if we can stipulate that, if we can say we will try to prioritize them, but if they are not comfortable with the translator, that they can bring in their own translator, I can be okay with this. Is that something we can do?
Yes, Mayor, members of the council, that is something we can do.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Councilwoman Pastor.
I just need to get some clarity. I think what is being asked is that there be a variety of translators that are able then to translate, clearly a bilingual translator, and is able then to translate and capture the whole story, and be able to then keep the rhythm that needs to keep going. As it goes to the translator, if they don't feel comfortable with the translator that is translating, what I just heard is that then they can ask somebody else who they feel comfortable to translate. I want to make that clear.
Yes, Mayor, members of the council, Councilwoman Pastor, that is accurate. If they don't feel comfortable with the translator provided, they could bring a family member or a friend who could provide that interpretation for them.
Okay. I just want to be clear because yesterday that was asked. And so from here on out, I want to be able to understand what the rules are. Okay.
And as I understand best practices, it's to try to have a neutral translator who is accurate. So can we always start with our translator, and then if it is inaccurate, but only if it is inaccurate, we would move on to a second alternative. But if the city is able to provide an accurate translation, that would always be the first place we would go, which just makes it easier to run the meeting.
Members of the council, as I understand it, that is an accurate best practice. It would be the direction of the council to tell us if it needs to be an accuracy determination versus the preference of the person speaking in their native language.
So Mayor, sorry.
Councilwoman Guardado.
So can you just explain, okay, so we are gonna move on, we're gonna say preference, Mario and Ms. Duarte. If the translator doesn't feel comfortable with the person that's translating, then they can bring in their own person. If the translation starts, I mean, I'll be able to see it from the dais and say, this is not moving in the right direction. then they can go ahead and pick their own person.
Mayor, members of the council, Councilwoman Guardado, it is my understanding that it has been our practice, if there is someone who doesn't feel comfortable with the translation, that we've been able to allow them to have their own translator, provided they have someone who can do that for them. It would always be our preference to start with our contracted interpreters to provide the service first. However, if there's an issue with that for whatever reason, and I would appreciate if the council would be able to provide some clarity on whether that is an accuracy issue or if that is related to the person's preference. But either way, we can accommodate allowing someone else to translate if that's a need.
I mean, I think I'm comfortable with having our translators begin the translation, but if there's issues as we are moving forward, they should be able to say, we know that this is not being translated correctly. We want X person that's here with us to do the translation for us.
Okay.
Is that more clear?
Yes, so it will be a decision based on, we want accuracy in the translation.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I have a question.
Councilwoman Pastor.
So I'm just reliving yesterday, and I just want to make sure that the time that is given is within that time. So there's an inaccuracy in the translation, then they are asked to bring in, or they say, I want someone to translate. I just think we need to be very clear on the timing and the time, because I think there's a concern that if someone brings their own translator or someone is standing there, they're going to take over the mic or run over the 2 minutes or whatever the minutes. And so I think we just need to be very clear on how much time is given when someone is speaking in another language and how much time is given to translate.
Yes, Mayor, members of the council, right now we do allow additional time for the interpreter to translate what's being said. So for example, the 2 minutes that is typically allowed for a comment, we allow 4 minutes so that there can be full translation of what's said.
All right, roll call.
Ansari,
Yes.
Guardado,
Yes.
Hodge Washington,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Pastor, Robinson, Waring, Stark,
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 9-0.
We next go to item 60, Entertainment District Consulting Services Contract. Councilman Ansari.
Move to approve item 60.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We have Jade Storm to provide comment.
Hi, good evening, council members. My name is Jade Storm Shamsuddin. I am the president and founder of the neighborhood organization called Mirror Image that represents the young adults in 6 city districts, almost 1 million households. We are to inspire young adults to reflect leadership utilizing sustainable fashion and organic entertainment. It's been a very challenging year for the last 14 years for me, and I am a little bit neutral in regards to approving this award, so I have a couple of questions that I'd like to see if you can answer, which can be stipulated into this agreement. In regards to number 60, does the RFP for this entertainment district stipulates any type of benefit for the residents in District 7 and District 8?
And if you don't mind asking all of your questions, and then we'll get staff to, so.
Sure. And can the amendment of this contract include an outreach request for the Mirror Image Foundation to be consulted with? And may the contract, if so, may the contract be coupled with an outreach outcome report after the consulting with the president of Mirror Image Foundation? That's it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for those comments. We'll ask staff to come forward. And since she referenced District 7, we'll let Councilman Ansari.
Great, thank you, Chris. Maybe you could start, if you could just outline what this contract exactly does, that would be helpful.
Absolutely, Mayor, Vice Mayor, it would be my pleasure. This item was a request for proposal that was issued through the City Council and with a lot of public outreach. It started from a study that was done through our Phoenix Convention Center under Convention, Sports, and Leisure that suggested 3 things to help enhance our entertainment and downtown business. And one of those was to create an entertainment district. Staff did come to City Council to bring forward a consultant to be able to help us identify those items in an entertainment district that would be important to the community, to the City Council, to city staff, in movement of the future of the community. So this really is the first phase of outreach of a consultant to kind of come in and look at downtown Phoenix and see what we're missing and where it is the city wants to go to, and then help us create a path to get there.
Wonderful, so we've selected the consultant that is going to be doing this. The commenter asked a question about, does the RFP stipulate any type of benefits for District 7 and 8? Could you just talk a little bit about the public outreach being done and how a local business or nonprofit would benefit from this?
Absolutely, Mayor, Vice Mayor. So as we look at it, the consultant will start their work, and there will be a lot of community outreach. We'll meeting not only with the signature stakeholders of downtown, we'll be meeting with community organizations. We'll be meeting, this isn't just a study for District 7 and 8. We have many community members in District 1 and District 6 and District 5 and District 4 that are very interested as well, that come into downtown and use this as their heart of the community as well. So we'll be doing outreach across the entire city of Phoenix to bring the community into that. So those community benefits that we have, we'll be identifying those through the process. I think the outcome and outreach is to really help enhance the downtown community to create the entertainment district that all of the city of Phoenix is looking for.
Thank you, Chris. And Jade Storm also asked about specifically outreaching to them. Could you or your team please connect with them to make sure we do that?
Vice Mayor, we will put them on our list of stakeholder groups that we reach out to as we start this process, absolutely.
Perfect. I think that's it for me. Thank you.
Wonderful. Any additional questions? Roll call.
Ansari,
Yes.
Guardado,
Yes.
Hodge Washington,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Pastor,
Yes.
Robinson, Waring, Stark,
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 9-0.
Item 61 is amending the contract with Aspire in District 7. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve item 61.
Second.
Jade Storm also registered to speak.
Thank you again. Good evening. I did address all of my questions in regards to this.
Wonderful, thank you. And you had also pulled item 62. Did we get those questions as well?
Yes, it was numbered in those orders. I do have one thing I would like to say. Throughout the years, I have spoken many times and have outreach with Chris, and she knows me very well, has promised many things and has failed to move forward with that. So if I could please get a response in regards to the last question that I asked, if there may be a contract awarded, can it be coupled with an outreach outcome from consulting with the Mirror Image Foundation's president, which is me?
And so you're asking for a paid contract?
If there is a contract awarded for this entertainment district to move forward, can it be coupled with a data outreach outcome from us being consulted with Chris and the team that is moving forward with this?
Wonderful. And this is an item to amend a contract related to putting money into the Housing Trust Fund. That's what we're on right
item
now.
62.
Okay, so could someone on our staff answer the question, can we award procurements without a process from the dais?
Mayor and council, no.
So we cannot, but we can commit to having a robust public process and making sure you are at the top of the email list. Okay. Thank you so much for the the questions. And as always, the Arts and Culture program also has great grants for community arts leadership with a real emphasis on our youth. And then on behalf of the applicant, we have Nick Wood available to speak if necessary. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Wood? All right, roll call.
Ansari,
Yes.
Guardado,
Yes.
Hodge Washington,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Pastor,
Yes.
Robinson, Waring,
I'll briefly explain my vote, Mayor.
Please do.
I'm sure it's a fine project, but I don't vote for Chief Wood.
Stark,
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
61 passes 8-1.
We next move to item 62, Event Communication Services Contract. Councilwoman Ansari.
Move to approve item 62.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and this one was also pulled for comment by Dade Storm, so understand we've answered the questions. Any other comments? Roll call.
Ansari,
Yes.
Guardado,
Yes.
Hodge Washington,
Yes.
O'Brien, Pastor,
Yes.
Robinson, Waring, Stark,
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 9-0.
Item 65 may be of the greatest interest to the folks in the audience today, the Michael Carbajal Ceremonial Street name signage renaming. This is an item in District 8. I will turn to Councilwoman Hodge Washington to introduce the item and make a motion.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to approve the Michael Carbajal Ceremonial Street name signage.
Second.
Thank you. If I may, Mayor, among his many outstanding professional accomplishments, Mr. Carbajal is a 6-time world champion, won a silver medal at the 1988 Seoul Olympics in South Korea, was inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame, and operates the Michael Carbajal 9th Street Gym just a few hundred yards from his childhood home. Today, Mr. Carbajal is doing his part to contribute to the next generation of Phoenix boxers. His contribution to our city, the Latino community, and the worldwide boxing community point to the living legend we have in our midst. While I was searching for community partners for my December community event, Mr. Carbajal jumped at the opportunity to work directly with children, and I watched gleefully as he spent quality time with our community, igniting a newfound appreciation for boxing. Mr. Carbajal demonstrates that a kid who wasn't born with a silver spoon can dedicate his time and talents to his craft and earn a place in history with golden gloves. At this time, I know there are audience members who are here and would like to say a few words. I would like to introduce former Councilwoman and County Board of Supervisors, Mary Rose Wilcox.
Thank you. And thank you, everybody. Hello. I would like to just really thank Keisha Washington for bringing this item up. And I think she said a lot of what all of us were thinking and are so proud of Michael. And I would like to also thank our mayor and members of the city council for and urge your support for the naming of the street after Michael Carbajal. I know there's a lot of us who are going to speak, but there's a few who aren't. So Keisha, with your and the mayor's permission, if they could stand up and be recognized, you'll see how many people actually support this. Is that okay? All right, you guys. When I was on the Phoenix City Council, one of the things that was one of my proudest moments is when Michael won the Olympic medal in 1988. I was on the council, and I was called by Michael's boxing team and asked to welcome Michael to the Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport as he came in. And I knew it was going to be exciting. I knew there would be a lot of people. And by the time we got to the airport and the airport staff helped us get a room and get ready, it was already too small. Everybody came down. And then by the time we welcomed him and got to his neighborhood at 9th Street, Michael, I think you remember the street was packed with family and people, and everybody was just so proud of this young man who did the city proud. And Keisha mentioned quite a few of his accomplishments, but I think the greatest was the impact he had on the pride of our community. When our community could see that one of our own was making it and making it and giving back to the community by helping youth, as Keisha has said. It was wonderful. And kids looked at that and said, I want to be a boxer. Okay, you got to have discipline, Michael would tell them. And Michael would make himself available for everything that people asked him so he could show the children of our community, you can be successful. So I'm really very proud of him. And I'd like to say one of the proudest moments for all of us in 2006 when he was elected to the International Boxing Hall of Fame, joining boxing legends such as Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, Joe Louis, Rocky Marciano, Sugar Ray Robinson, Sugar Ray Leonard, Sonny Liston, just to name a few, and finally Michael Carbajal. So congratulations, Michael, and please, please vote for this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Rose. I understand the councilwoman and team have been working very closely with Dino and John Montano, so I'll call them up in that order.
Well, let me begin by thanking Councilwoman Hodge Washington as well as Councilwoman Pastor and Councilman Robinson and you, Mayor. I mean, the reality for us is my private foundation has been very philanthropic with Michael and Laura and the team in just helping to kind of perpetuate a feeling of outward self-confidence with the youth. Sometimes we forget that they're very impressionable and they don't have a place to go. And as a result, those impressions are something that somebody needs to look up to. I think for me personally, Michael and I have known each other for a number of years. We've traveled together, and the reality is I've watched people around him, and I've watched how people act towards him, and the reality for me and my family is that we're behind everything that he has done. And for me personally, I look at him in the greatest of lights. He doesn't have to live on Fillmore, right? He doesn't have to be in that neighborhood, but yet he is. And the gym is, and people congregate around him. I was fortunate enough to travel with him recently to a fight in Los Angeles, and people even there know who he is. So he's an ambassador for the city. He's an ambassador for people that give him hope, and he perpetuates that hope. And Michael, I just want you to stand and just let me recognize you for all that you've done for the city of Phoenix. Thank you, council members. I appreciate your support today.
And thank you. Your family trust is covering the cost of fabrication and installation. Wonderful. We will then welcome up next John, followed by Rob.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. I'd just like to say Michael Carbajal is not only known here in Arizona. I've supervised world title fights all over the world for over 20 years. Everywhere I go, China, Australia, Italy, they all ask, where is Michael Carbajal? How is he doing? He was the most popular fighter in the 1988 Olympics. I've supervised every single fight that Michael has had in Arizona, and some he's had out of the country also. But my greatest feeling for Michael is that a kid that made $1 million could go and move anywhere. He decided to stay in his neighborhood, help the kids around there, and bring all the kids to the gyms and give them something to work for. You've never seen a kid try to hold up a liquor store with a pair of boxing gloves. That's what these gyms do. This is what Michael does. He gives these kids something to work for and gives everybody else that comes in contact with these kids somewhere to grow up and be like the legend we have here in Arizona, Michael Carbajal. My young kid, because I've seen him since he grew up. First amateur fight until his last. Michael Carbajal, he is a legend in Arizona, and please, please approve this measure. Thank you.
Rob is next, followed by Ray.
Good afternoon. I was a police officer for 40 years. Almost 36 years of that service was in Phoenix, and I started in 1979. I started walking a beat in Michael's neighborhood, and maybe I know him a little longer than some of the speakers, but I remember him walking around the neighborhood, and this neighborhood was not the showcase it is today. It was riddled with crime, it was riddled with drugs, it was riddled with violence. When you're growing up in these neighborhoods, and I know this, there's a lot of temptations. He rose above those temptations. He rose above the peer pressure. He trained hard every day, and he worked himself into a world champion. Over the years, I've maintained a very close friendship with him. I don't know how many times we've been out to dinner. I don't know how many times we've been out to lunch. I've been to his house. I know his family. Whenever we're out, he is crowded with people. He is crowded with people that know him. And a man of his status, the last time we went to lunch, we talked about sports figures that are a little aloof. This is not Michael. He's always got time to shake a hand, to take pictures, to hold kids, to sign autographs. I've watched him to develop into the champ he is today. It was about a year ago that he was touted in the Arizona Republic as one of the most known sports figures in the state. Records are made to be broken. We know his records, but records like Babe Ruth, records are made to be broken, but the legend stays alive. It's time to acknowledge and recognize him.
Thank you. Ray Buchanan, followed by E.J. Hook.
Hello. How you doing? Mayor, council members, know just about all of you up there. I'm a City of Phoenix retiree. I worked for City Neighborhood Services for about 26 years, retired 9 years ago. Native Phoenician, homegrown here in Phoenix. Michael Carbajal is someone that I looked up to even though he was about this big and still is. But I tell you, let's do him a great service and honor him by naming that street in his namesake because he's done us wonders and honor all of his life representing Phoenix, Arizona in the boxing world. I would go speak to elementary schools on topics of, I ran a youth gang dropout prevention program for a couple years, and I'd go over to Mike's house, pick him up, and we'd ride to various classrooms to speak to the kids, and the kids were so honored and elated to see a champion, Michael Carbajal, boxing champion, known throughout the world, almost the same size as they are, you know? And I tell you, so let's just keep it real. Let's just pay it forward and honor him, and I'd appreciate and applaud all of you if you would take the time out to do that. Thank you, Michael Carbajal. Champ.
E.J. Hooks, followed by Angelica.
Hello, everyone. I decided to come in and speak on behalf of Michael Carbajal for everything he's done for my son, you know, and all the other kids that I see in the gym that come there every day to just even give a pound or even just to come take off that stress, or they may not get that love from other kids at school because some kids may be artistic, some kids may be, you know, I forgot the word, but less understanding than others, shall I say, more comprehensive, and also the bullying. And the reason why I touch on this story so much because I wanted to start a program for any kids from the age of 6 to 13, but I also have a kid that's artistic myself. So it's a lot of work to do, but I'm here to do it. But I've been hearing around that some kids get like a niche, and when they find that niche that are artistic, one day my son woke up and he came to me and said, "Dad, I want to be a world champion." And growing up from Phoenix, Arizona myself, I would hear about all these other champion boxers, but there's one name that stuck out to me as a kid, growing up in Phoenix, is Michael Carbajal. You know, just hearing his name, even though I never got to meet him throughout my life growing up, personally. But I'm glad that God answered my prayers because I asked for my son to have protection for himself, no matter what. And just to be on the right side of that, but I had a friend that I went to school with. He referred me to Michael Carbajal here at, right down the street at Phoenix St. Mary's High School on 7th Street. And just to know that I got referred to have my son come here, and he's been elevating ever since he's been coming. He's been, going to regular classes with regular kids. He's been happy to come to boxing practice, training. Even if a kid don't make it professionally, I think it just gives them that confidence, so I just love taking my kid there. That's his happy place, and I love seeing all the other kids there as well because it's a real big team. So thank you.
Thank you. Angelica is next, followed by Francesca.
Hello, thank you, Mayor, district members. My name's Angelica Roselle. I am also a fellow downtown Phoenician. I'm here to represent my son as well. I just want to share that as a young girl, I followed Michael Carbajal, watched all his fights, was in awe. I had my grandfather, my great uncles, they were boxers as well, so boxing is a big deal in our family. When I moved to downtown Phoenix with my husband, one day we saw somebody just jogging down the street in our neighborhood, 10th Street, Washington, and he's like, "That's Michael Carbajal." I'm like, "That's Michael Carbajal?" He's like, "Yeah, he lives in the neighborhood." I'm like, "No way." And in a million years, did I ever think that my son would be training with him? It's a very big deal. I'm starstruck every time I see that man. He is the nicest, sweetest man you ever met. My son, he is so good with him. I'm sorry to get emotional, but he is such a good trainer. My son does so well with him, and he respects him in every way. And everything this man has done, has put his body through physically and emotionally. There's no one more deserving of a street named after him. And we thank you, Champ, for everything that you do. I think my son wanted to say something.
Not on.
Hello, my name is Jacob, and I live in downtown Phoenix, and Michael Carbajal is the best boxer I ever met. He deserves the street sign. Thank you.
Good job.
Well, that's going to be tough to follow, but please go ahead, and then Norm will be our final speaker.
And it had to be me. Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I'm Francisca Montoya, and I'm here to speak on behalf of our hometown hero, Michael Carbajal. In 1988, Michael participated in the Seoul Olympics, and he got robbed. He came home with a silver, but he got robbed, and we all know that. And I remember when Mary Rose Wilcox and the Phoenix City Council had a big celebration downtown in Patriots Park, which is now Cityscape, and the entire city of Phoenix came out to celebrate Michael and to see his silver medal. I followed Michael's career since before going to the Olympics. And when he came back and turned professional, I followed his career as well. I had the privilege of being at his fights in Laughlin, in LA, Mexico City, and had the privilege and the honor of being present when Michael was inducted into the Boxing Hall of Fame in New York. That was such a special moment to have Phoenix represented in that museum that will live forever. Michael still lives in Garfield, in the same house that he grew up, and I think that that is commendable for anyone who has received the kind of fame and attention that he has, and he continues to live in the neighborhood that he grew up. Years ago, when I was working at the Stardust Resource and Learning Center in South Phoenix, I went to Michael's house and knocked on the door. Michael answered, and he agreed to come and speak to our youth. And he brought his belts, and it was such a special moment for the kids. This is long overdue, but I'm glad that it's actually happening. So thank you so much, and please approve action item 65.
A tough act to follow, but you did it very well. And we actually have 3 more speakers. So Norm will be next, followed by Sergio.
I'm Norm Fraunheim, former Arizona Republic sports writer, and I had the good fortune to cover Michael's career. And I just want to say, legacy is a terribly overused word. I've grown to hate it, but it still lives through its true definition in Michael Carbajal. And it's appropriate that a street be named after him. He grew up in the organic mom and pop gym, came out of that, gave Phoenix a lot of international exposure, and now Phoenix has become a major stop worldwide for all these major promoters. And there's one that I'll tell you about. His name's Eddie Hearn. He's from London. And he came up to me the last time he was promoting in town, and he said, you know, this city has some of the most educated fans I've ever been in, and he has promoted everywhere. And he goes to me, he says, why is that? And I said, it's because of Michael Carbajal. Thank you. It's an avenue, he represents an avenue, if you will, to what this city has become and from where he's from. Please pass the resolution. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Saldana, and then Vanessa will be our final speaker.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Sergio Saldana, and I am a fighter that been training at the gym for quite some time now. And all I gotta say is that I hope this gets approved because Michael deserves it, honestly. He has, changed my life, and boxing has been part of my whole life, and it has shaped me in many ways. And Michael has helped me through a lot, and I started amateur fighting with him, and it basically changed my life, from doing bad to doing good now in life. I would say he has shaped most of the kids in the community and is still helping in the community. And who can say that, Michael has been a champion, and even if you don't make it in boxing, in life, you can become a champion as a business owner in many ways. So I truly hope, this gets approved, and thank you, Michael, for everything you've done to our community. Thank you.
Vanessa will be our final speaker.
Hello and good afternoon. This is my first time doing a public speaking, so I'm a little nervous. I just want to say I've lived in that neighborhood for over 20 years, maybe right across the street on 10th Street in Fillmore. So I've been there since I was 6 years old. I've seen, like the police officer said, what it was back then and what it is now, completely different. So to persevere and go through that time and see what it is today is just, it's an honor. And I really do hope this gets approved. I've seen Michael literally since I was a child, just shape that community, the students, everything that Fillmore Street is Michael Carvajal. And like she also touched on Michael running around the neighborhood. Literally you will see him Monday through Friday running around that neighborhood. So like I said, I hope this gets approved. He literally is a legend that is still standing, and I would love for him to see this come to life. Thank you for your time.
I think she's a natural. We'll turn now to Councilwoman Pastor.
Thank you, Mayor. So, just gonna give a bit of history. There's been history given, but probably a little bit more. So, Michael grew up in a tough working class neighborhood, 9th Street, known as the Garfield neighborhood, where there is passion, heart, and love in this barrio. Other Phoenix natives like myself can attest to this. You had to be in a fight or flight mode all the time. He then went on to have an outstanding Hall of Fame boxing career, even representing us in the 1988 Olympics. He rose from the barrio, and he continues to inspire everyone around us. Michael opened the 9th Street Gym in 1993 to have a safe space in the neighborhood for the neighborhood kids and community members, to give hope. I admire that he's still so involved and he's giving back to 9th Street and Garfield. Michael is also a graduate of North High School, attended Phoenix Union High School 1 year, and an Edison alum. As a former Phoenix Union board member and a current North High Mustang, it is incredible to see active community members like Michael come out to our doors. Councilman Garcia met with community leaders and Mary Rose to begin this process. And I'm so excited and honored that Manitos de Pierna is here. I thank Councilmember Hodge Washington for completing this. Michael, thank you for all that you have done for our city, community, state, and worldwide, and for all the work you continue to do. Like you have said before, you hope to train someone who will eventually surpass you and break your records. I know that person will also be from the barrio of Phoenix. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments? Councilwoman Hodge Washington, bring us home. Then roll call.
Ansari.
Yes.
Guardado.
Mayor, can I explain my vote?
Please do.
Thank you. I just want to thank Michael, your family. I mean, just seeing everyone from here, it looks pretty amazing. As someone that also grew up in the barrios, as someone that also needed a mentor, someone to look up to, Michael, you're making a huge difference in people's lives. Our community doesn't have the money, doesn't have the resources to go out and get a personal mentor. So having you as a mentor, having our youth here today, I have 2 small boys that definitely could use some boxing lessons. But at the same time, I see what you're doing with our youth. I see what you're doing with the future of Phoenix, and you should be so proud of all of your hard work and everything that you have done. You know, as someone that has mentored many youth here in Phoenix, there is a huge need, and thank you so much for joining all of us and for all of the work that you have done, and for all of these children that are here and hoping to be like you someday. We cannot thank you enough for everything that you have done for our community, and I will be voting yes.
Hodge Washington.
Like Jacob said, Michael Carbajal is the best boxer I've ever met, and he should have a street named after him, so I vote yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Pastor.
From a Chicano to a Chicana, sí se puede. Sí.
Robinson.
Mayor, if I can explain my vote also.
Please do.
Thank you, Mayor. It was August 30th, about 3:15 in the afternoon, because I looked it up on my phone. I got a text from David Salgado. And David, if you could stand real quick. David's a retired Phoenix police officer. David texted me and said, you're going to get a call from Mary Rose Wilcox. Take it. I would take the call from me anyway, Mary Rose. But I did, and they told me what they were planning on doing, what they wanted, what they had hoped to do. And I was in support of it then. I am in support of it now. But it's interesting that Lieutenant Rob September, he served the Phoenix Police Department for 37 years. Close. A total of 40 years in law enforcement. And Rob worked that area, knew it, as did I, as did David. And there was a stigma attached to the neighborhood, as was alluded to by several speakers. But what was always good about it was someone like Michael Carbajal. Michael was there. You know, you were in the middle of it all. Folks in the neighborhood would come to you, folks who didn't necessarily want to talk to the police. And there was always that sense of Michael doing the right things by the folks in the neighborhood, and was always very respectful to the police, and it was something we really appreciated. So I was asked by Mary Rose, I was asked by David, or I was probably told by David. We've known one another for well over 50 years. So my vote is a definite yes, and Michael, congratulations to you and your family. You're much deserving. Thank you.
Waring. Stark.
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 9-0.
Woohoo!
Congratulations. Pause in case anyone wants to step out of the council meeting, but you're welcome to stay for the whole time. All right, for those of you watching online, a very large group just departed the council meeting, but looked like they were in a good mood. We next go to item 80, which is redundant and backup power. Do we have a motion on item 80? Move to approve item 80.
Second.
Motion and a second. Diane Barker.
Thank you, Mayor. This is 80, right? I was blowing a kiss to Michael. I just said that I got to dance with Alexis Arguelles back, and I found out how gentle a boxer can be and good on his feet. And so I'm in District 7, and on this 80, I'm supporting 80 highly. This is, the federal government's going to pay 75% of the city matching costs. I'm very much in support of sustainability. What they're doing is making sure we have generators for water pumps. That seems to be the larger amount of money. But last evening at the Roosevelt neighborhood meeting, I'm a member, the city did present the cooling center for Burton Bar. I go to Burton Bar regularly. I'm over there maybe, even 3 times a week. Already we have people that I think go in because of climate. In the summer, we know how hot it gets. What they want to do is make a cooling center in there, and people that are homeless or they, want to get off of into cooler area, they will expand that. There was a little controversy in it, but I said, look, I go over there. We have a Phoenix police officer, we have security guards, and it seems like there isn't that much of a chaos or problem. This is a homeland, ADOT's told me it's a Homeland Security property right around Hance Park. This sits on there. What I'm suggesting to you is we need to take care of that. The city, as a lessee on Hance Park, is required to maintain that area. And I didn't know whether Burton Bar is Homeland Security, but as Ed Zerker, who's now MAG director, said, this is an aging property around there. It's important, very important to the whole valley, and let's make sure that it's sustainable.
Thank you. Any comments? Roll call.
Ansari,
Yes.
Guardado,
Yes.
Hodge Washington,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Pastor, Robinson, Waring, Stark,
Yes.
Gallego,
Yes.
passes 8-0.
Thank you. And this is one of many items we have voted on today that help us prepare for summer and heat. We next go to item 93. 93 is a public hearing. I will open the public hearing. We have Paul Gilbert on behalf of the applicant. Does anyone need to hear from Paul? I will close the public hearing. This is in Council District 7. I will turn to Councilwoman Ansari.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a couple of comments to start. First of all, I just want to take a moment to thank Paul Gilbert, who represents Keys to Change pro bono, for his work on this case. Some of you may know I visited what was formerly known as the Human Services Campus on my first day as being a councilwoman, just a couple hours after being inaugurated. And at the time, there were about 200 individuals living in tents around the campus in 2021. It's one of the issues that I've been most passionate about and most committed to working on. And we know that the pandemic exacerbated this challenge when we saw unemployment and federal resources run out and evictions continue to rise. The next thing you know, we saw close to 1,000 individuals outside of the campus. I really want to thank our residents for their patience and collaboration. I'd also like to thank city staff, volunteers, nonprofit partners, and everybody who has had and continues to have a role in getting people housed and into services in Phoenix. From fire to police to CBI and many, many unpaid volunteers who just do this work to show compassion and humanity in Phoenix. It happened slower than we wanted because there were operational matters that we had to correct and thoughtfully implement while we do this work. We had block by block cleanups that were executed well and thoughtfully, how we provide safe storage and how we ramp up relief during the extreme heat season. I think to have an 11-3 decision at the Central City Village Planning Committee and no appeals to this use permit is a real testament to our work and the collaborative work in achieving better conditions for all. I think 2023 was truly a defining year for collaboration, and what we promised to surrounding neighborhoods and businesses, a safe, clean neighborhood that leads with services and responding to our homelessness crisis. We have our colleagues here on the council and city executive leadership to thank for that swift action, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention Gina, Scott, Rachel, and the entire Office of Homeless Solutions for, I think, what is the hardest jobs at the city of Phoenix. Thank you for the incredible work that you're doing at this moment. Thank you for all you do to properly communicate and execute our city's vision for safe and accessible housing for all. And with that, I will motion to approve the item per the planning hearing officer recommendation and adopt the related ordinance.
Second. We have a motion and second. Any additional comments? Roll call.
Ansari,
Yes.
Guardado,
Yes.
Hodge Washington,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Pastor, Robinson, Waring, Stark,
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 9-0.
Thank you. That is our final agendized item for today. We will go to the last portion of the meeting, resident comment, and I'll turn to our city attorney to introduce this portion.
Thank you, Mayor. During citizen comment, members of the public may address the City Council for up to 3 minutes on issues of interest or concern to them. The citizen comment session is limited to 30 minutes. The Arizona Open Meeting Law permits the City Council to listen to the comments but prohibits council members from discussing or acting on the matters presented.
Thank you so much. We'll begin with Nicole Rodriguez, followed by David Bonilla.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Council. I just wanted to briefly comment on a few things today related to Vision Zero and also on housing. I know we have a pretty robust Vision Zero advisory committee, but I did want to point out to Council and city leadership that currently we have a vacancy and also no females that are serving in a voting capacity on the Vision Zero advisory committee. We do have 3 students who are non-voting members. One is a female. However, we currently, unfortunately, do not have anyone representing from a perspective from moms or anyone who's a caregiver that is a woman, and that is greatly needed on this committee as a voice, and it's critical to us understanding better on the needs of those who not only get around in vehicles, but also caregivers who get around in other means, who have limitations and cannot drive or cannot afford to drive. This is, I think, an oversight that was missed, but I want to make it known today, if it is an oversight, that we work harder to look at finding more women to engage on this Vision Zero committee, because right now it's just all men and the only public commenters are females. So I don't think a single male has commented, provided public comment other than I believe one individual. But this is interesting and unusual compared to most other cities. So we need more diversity in that respect. The very last thing I wanted to briefly mention, I am greatly disappointed in the city's lack of support on House Bill 2570. This is something that I hope then also the city prioritizes even greatly, because we saw a lack of support for parking reform, whereas other states and cities are working hard to make sure that we are getting these needed reforms pushed through, whether on the staff side and or from the public. And we were, from the public side, really engaged and willing to work on this matter with leadership. So we hope, then I hope to see more action on this aspect for housing affordability moving forward, because it's greatly past due, and we got a lot of citizens here willing to work and not be roadblocks and making better outcomes for everybody here in Phoenix. And with that, I would like to just close out my comments and thank you.
Thank you. David is next, followed by Brian Willingham.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. My name is David Bonilla. I'm a cashier for SSP at Sky Harbor. I'm currently on a leave of absence to work as an organizer for Unite Here Local 11. So far, at least 9 union activists have been fired from SSP America since they first went out on strike. If SSP thinks that they can scare us by singling out the most outspoken leaders, they're in for a rude awakening. Those tactics just won't work. Workers will not be silenced, but we are here today because SSP America is your contractor. They are your responsibility. Do you think that all the allegations of racial disparities mean nothing? We are asking you to investigate these issues, not just blindly take our side. Please put the issue of racial disparities at SSP on the agenda so we can have a real dialogue and get to the bottom of what is happening at SSP. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Brian is next, followed by Julia.
Mayor Gallego, Vice Mayor, distinguished mayor, members of council, City Manager Barton, Lori Bays, thank you for allowing me to speak today. Most importantly, I want to talk to the members of the community. My name is Brian Willingham, and I'm the president of the United Phoenix Firefighters, Local 493. I stand before you today to address a critical issue that directly impacts the safety and well-being of our community. I'd like to start by acknowledging the work you've all done over the past years to help with fire department resources, including 6 stations that were recently approved that will be built over the next 5 years, 4 inside the bond that many of you worked on that's appreciated, and 2 outside. So I want to say thank you for that. It's not only needed, it's definitely appreciated. But that said, I think it's imperative that we draw attention to our residents, that they understand that this is a very sobering reality. Our city's fire and emergency medical services have not kept pace with our population growth for well over a decade. The consequences, response times that are often hovering around 9 minutes. The national standard is 5. I urge you to pause for a moment and consider what 9 minutes truly means. Count to 60 9 times. Count to 60 9 times and imagine the anguish of waiting for paramedics to arrive as your loved one's life hangs in the balance. Or the terror of watching your home engulfed in flames, hoping for the swift assistance that we provide. We, the firefighters, are not here to simplify or simply voice our concerns. We are here with a genuine desire to collaborate with the city to find viable solutions. We recognize the urgency of the matter and are committed to working together to begin addressing these challenges in the coming months, no matter how long it takes and no matter how heavy the lift. I'd also like to take a moment to commend the city manager and his dedicated staff, all of you who supported the bond, and especially the community for your unwavering commitment to keeping our city operational despite facing numerous budgetary constraints. Jeff Barton, Lori Bays, and their staff's resilience and resourcefulness has not gone unnoticed. And those of you who supported their plan, that has certainly helped as well, and we thank you for that. However, it's crucial to acknowledge the stark reality of that's facing our fire department. In the past 15 years, we've only added 1 station, while our city has added hundreds of thousands of residents. Our firefighters have heroically managed to do more with less, but now they find themselves doing less with even less. We are stretched thin, and the strain on our resources as firefighters has reached a breaking point. In conclusion, I implore you to consider the urgency of this matter and to prioritize the safety and well-being of our community in the coming months. Together, we can ensure that our firefighters have the support and resources they need to continue serving our wonderful city with the dedication and bravery that our residents so rightly deserve. There's one last thing, if I may add. The city's facing extreme circumstances. The state legislature passed last year a bill that eliminates the rental property tax. That's not our council's fault. That's not our mayor's fault. That's not our city manager's fault. No one's fault but the state legislature. That's a loss of $90 million to this city. We're already in a hole. We're in a sand trap, and it keeps falling back in. Home rule is on the ballot next November. I would urge you to look into how important that will be to not cap our spending and continue to be able to provide the funding and resources for sustainability for our fire department so that we can better serve your families.
Thank you.
I'll leave you at that.
Very important testimony, but thank you. Julia is next, followed by Karina.
Hi, always learn a lot at these meetings. So mine are just a couple of concerns I've noticed. I live on East Hatcher Road in Sunny Slope. There have been 4 accidents because of speeding, and I've worked with the streets department. I did the speed study. They saw that there was excessive speeding, but because of the houses that are on that street, they're too low, we can't have speed humps. But we keep having excessive speeding and people getting into accidents. Before I met with the streets department a couple months ago, a woman was killed at an accident in the intersection. I've had other block watches come to me and say, we can hear people drag racing down your street, and we are very annoyed. I went up and down the street in the heat of the summer getting petition signatures to do the study and then to get the speed hump, and everybody complained about the speeding. I have talked with other towns like Cave Creek, and they don't have a solution either for the dips, because we're in Sunny Slope, so we have dips on the road, but people still speed. They haven't found a solution. I've talked with all other cities. Nobody has a solution for speeding with dips, and I think that's something to look into, because I know right now with the streets department there's only the speed humps, and they took out, I think, the whatever you call the inner barrier thing, but just something to look into, because it's going to continue in my neighborhood with the drag racing, and we hear it every night. Another thing, Mystery Castle is still up for demo. I know I talked with you guys about this. When I was trying to find other solutions, I called the tourism board. And I noticed for the tourism board, it's only people for the convention center and also that are hotels. There's no museum or anybody else on the tourism board. I know when I go to the Herd, there are many people from out of the country, Japan, China, India, that go to the Herd Museum because they love to see the Herd Museum. There are people that travel from all over that went to go see the Mystery Castle. I think it would be good for the tourism board to explore the idea of having other places that are not just hotels and convention centers, but things that tourists like to see. I know that you guys own Tovara Castle, and that's a huge thing that people love to see and try and get tickets to every single year. So that would be something good to see on the tourism board. I know that we're still trying to find a solution for Mystery Castle. I'm still working on it. I know that now, I'm sure you've seen on social media, the Owl Beetle House on East White Gates Drive is up for demo. There was 150 letters, I think, sent to the Historic Preservation Office. Fox 10 News did a story on it. I know that won't be discussed till April 15th, and I'm sure you guys will be getting letters about it too. But we're losing so much Phoenix history right now, and it's really hard to fight these battles with just one person or a couple of people. And I know I only have 24 seconds left, but just to find some solutions and to work on, saving our Phoenix history. And I do want to say thank you to the firefighters. I know it's been hard for them in our area because our fire station is the smallest but the busiest. So just trying to find some solutions for historic preservation, for the firefighters, for just the whole community as a whole. Thank you.
Karina is next, followed by Terrian.
Hi, Mayor and City Council. My name is Karina Sims, and I am a member of USA Dodgeball. My issue is a little bit less presenting, but all of a sudden, I basically am here to ask you guys what resources you guys could provide me for dodgeball. I play competitive dodgeball. We're taking off, and one of the things we would like to do is provide the community with how it's played professionally all over the world. The members of the USA Dodgeball community I work with, we're trying to make it an Olympic sport. We're trying to make it a professional sport. And one of the things that we want to do as an organization is teach the youth how we play at a high level and make it more organized, and give youth an ability to have another avenue to do things with their lives aside from the typical sports. One of the things that we are finding with dodgeball is that it fosters teamwork, involves communication, and it really gives a sense of community there for everybody, and it kind of levels the playing field because you don't have to be freakishly tall. You don't have to be freakishly quick, you just have to be crafty. And so that's one of the things we would like to give the youth and just overall, even young adults. So I'm here to ask you again, if one of you guys could reach out to me at some point. I am talking with your Parks and Rec department, and we're kind of trying to narrow down an area, but I would just like to offer the city, even in schools, and make it, and get back to the art of playing dodgeball, because there is an art about it. There is a community that is passionate behind it, and I feel like Phoenix could trailblaze that for other areas to watch. So thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. It sounds like you're already on it, but our Parks Director is happy to talk further. Terrian is next, followed by Jasmine.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and members of the council. As before mentioned, my name is Terrian Ross, and a few things about me for context. I am a born-bred, cornbread, and burrito-fed Southside diehard. I'm a Clovis Campbell and South Mountain High School graduate, an ASU criminal justice dropout, current District 8 resident, wife, and mother of 4. Today, I want to speak to you about a topic that I am very passionate about: the redlining, sanitization, and gentrification of my home and community. It has been historically documented that South and Southeast Phoenix were the only part of Arizona officially redlined by the federal government. Redlining didn't just keep Black and brown people from buying homes and getting fair access to financial services. In my community, it led to fewer bank branches, more pawn shops and liquor stores, and even more payday lenders. It created food deserts, and in my community, it also created a lack of quality health care. My community is now being sanitized. And if you're unfamiliar with what that word is, it's when you all make the hood eco-friendly. You make the hood easier to travel around and a lot more convenient for the new occupants that will soon gentrify the blocks and the streets that we call home. You'll make it easier for them. The blight that you call South Phoenix is not it. Our community staples are now being bulldozed and replaced with Black Rock coffee shops, overpriced housing developments that we're still not giving loans to live in, and gates are being put up to keep us out and to keep them safe. It's the audacity for me. I don't understand how you all can sit there knowing that the government forced us to South Phoenix, deprived us of basic opportunities and decent standards, and then years later allow your policies and gentrification to force us out. My only 2 questions for you today is, where do we go? What about us? By way of Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, Arkansas, South Phoenix, and Allenville, Arizona, I am my ancestors, and by any means necessary, you will do right by us. Thank you very much.
Jasmine is next.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. My name is Jasmine Glass. I was a cashier at SSP America at Sky Harbor International Airport until just a couple months ago. The last time I was here speaking to you, I informed you that we had filed complaints with the Attorney General and the Phoenix Equal Opportunity Department alleging racial disparities in promotion, pay, and hiring at SSP America. Just 2 weeks after I became a public whistleblower, I was fired from SSP. So far, at least 9 outspoken union activists have been fired. We have filed charges with the Federal Labor Board alleging that our disciplines and determinations are unlawful because SSP is applying their policies in a discriminatory way to target union supporters. The EOD declined to investigate our complaint while the AG's case is ongoing, even though EOD has its own independent obligation to enforce the city's anti-discrimination laws. It is unjust that the EOD is sitting on its hands and ignoring obligations to workers in the city. When will it be enough for this council to take what is happening at your airport seriously? The Attorney General oversees the entire state, and they've reached out and met with us. Why isn't Phoenix taking this seriously? We aren't well off. Losing our jobs means dealing with being hungry and possibly homeless. Please, I asked you before to do what you can to ensure that our allegations of racial disparities are investigated. EOD's decision not to act without taking steps to investigate is unacceptable. Please put this on the next agenda so we can have a discussion. Show us that it matters what your contractor is doing and hold them accountable. Thank you.
Mayor,
Councilwoman Pastor.
can I ask staff a question regarding the EEOD?
Mayor and council, we cannot have any discussion on an item that's not on agendized.
Okay, but I'm asking a question there. I just want to know process. So
at the next policy, which is on
next Tuesday,
you could do a request for information, and that would be, I think.
okay, so next Tuesday, I have to make a request for policy to place this item on the agenda?
No, there is an agendized item called council requests for information coming up on Tuesday. So you could, you could just, we have to move on now, but there is other opportunities
I'm
where
a
you
little
could.
confused.
We can come to your office and give you a briefing on the item.
I don't need you to come to my office. What I just want to understand, for the public to understand the process of what's happening with the EEOD.
So
And what I mean by that is why it was sent to somewhere else.
So without getting into the specifics, as Julie said, that complaint that was brought
And we can't
before
do
us-
this right now. We gotta do it when it's agendized. So thank you. We'll go next to Nicholas, followed by Mark Rodriguez.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. My name is Nicholas Sethi. I'm a member of Unite Here Local 11. I was formerly a cook for SSP America at Sky Harbor Airport. We believe that our employer, SSP America, is punishing workers in a discriminatory way for their union involvement. So far, at least 9 union activists have been fired from SSP America since we first went on strike. I myself was recently fired. If SSP thinks that they'll scare us out by singling our most outspoken leaders, and they're in for rude awakening, those tactics aren't going to work on us. Even though I've been fired from SSP, I will not be silenced, and I will keep fighting with my coworkers. Because we are here today because SSP America is your contractor. They are your responsibility. Do you think that all our allegations of racial disparities mean nothing? We're asking you to investigate these issues, not just blindly take their side. Please put this issue of racial disparity at SSP on the agenda so that we can have a real dialogue about the issues and figure out if SSP is really the best company for the job and get to the bottom of what is going on at SSP.
Mark Rodriguez is next, followed by Michael Smith.
Hello, Mayor Kate Gallego and members of the Phoenix City Council. It's good to hear from you again. This is my first time being on screen, even though I'm autistic, a man, because it's having you a great time and having you a wonderful time, and you're sitting on your black leather chairs, and I want to sit on it because I'm just autistic. I'm just autistic, even though I'm an autistic man, because I grew up with an autism thing, because I'm just saying, because, I'm just a friendly guy. I like you, Mayor Kate Gallego, Yasmin Ansari. I gave you a thank you card, and Betty Magado, I gave you a birthday card because you're shaking your head nod yes, because it's just that I'm saying, because you received it with the pictures. It's because, thank you for that, and Mayor Gallego, I'll send you a birthday card in October, because I wanted to see you, I wanted to say you guys after this meeting's over, because, I'm just a friendly guy, and I'm here about the Levine stuff, is because Raising Cane's is open on April 30th, and then we're waiting for a Harkins Theater movie to come up, and because I'm just saying, because, and yeah, that's my Nuka-Cola. I'm a Fallout fan because I just played all the video games, even though I'm a video game nerd, and I'm an anime, and I'm a comic book, and I'm a nerd guy, because I'm just friendly. I'm just saying, and Mayor Gallego, Yasmin Ansari, Betty Wangado, Laura Pastor, Ann O'Brien, and Jim Waring, it's my first time meeting you, and Keisha Huss Washington. I'm just saying, because we need to more Levine. We're waiting on the Harkins Theater because we just waiting for a theater to come up, but all the nothing but houses. When I go to the casino, Vicuiva Casino, it's because me and my mom go over there every morning and night and all that stuff, because I like everything in Levine, even though I'm just saying, because I'm just a friendly person, because I'm just showing respectful for you guys. And Yasmin, I can't wait to talk to you after you're done. And then also Mayor Gallego too, and then Laura Pastor, Ann O'Brien, Keisha House Washington, and Betty Wangado. And also members of the Phoenix City Councils are the best Phoenix in our United States of America. Even though I'm just a good, friendly person, because I'm just autistic, and almost 9 seconds left, and that's all for me, Mayor. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Mark, and we'll get your birthday in November. Michael is our final speaker, I believe.
How y'all doing? Mayor, City Council. My name is Michael Smith. I'm a utility at, where am I? Oh, I forgot, I went blank. Oh, 4 Peaks. I'm a utility worker at 4 Peaks for SSP America. So far, at least 9 union activists have been fired from SSP America since they first went on strike. SSP thinks they can scare us by picking out the loudest leaders. But they're in for a rude awakening. Workers will not be silent. When will it be enough for this council to take what is happening at your airport seriously? Do you think that all the allegations of racial disparities mean nothing? We are asking you to investigate these issues and not just blindly take our side or just sweep it up under the rug. Please put these issues of racial disparities at SSP on the agenda so that we can have a real dialogue and get to the bottom of what's happening at SSP America. Thank you.
Mayor. Thank you. We are adjourned.